Hi, my name is Adi Eshman. I'm a playwright, screenwriter, and producer based in Brooklyn, New York. I'm excited to tell you about my feature film idea called The Counter Protester. It's about a podcast producer named Zach, who's this sort of meek, mild Ashkenazi guy who's working on his parents' podcast, his parents are a little bit more center when it comes to Israel than he is, and they start getting into it over Israel. He also encounters this very far left Israeli activist named Amir, and Zach's life is going pretty well professionally, personally. He starts dating someone at his co-working space, and Amir starts interfering in his life in these different ways. Amir starts trying to date this woman that he's seeing. He goes on his parents' podcast and kind of blows things up with him and his parents. Amir even steals the recording equipment and pawns it to bail out his activist friends from jail. This all comes to a head as Zach is sort of trying to figure out what Amir's game plan is and why he keeps doing this. And Amir and Zach kind of come to a huge confrontation, and Zach comes to the realization that they actually might be the same person. And this is sort of a Jewish fight club, if you will, where Amir is the brash, masculine, bold Brad Pitt to Zach's more meek and mild Ashkenazi, centrist Edward Norton. I'm still, figuring out elements of this script, and I really would love to, be a part of the Jewish Writers Initiative so that I can continue to bounce ideas off of, what I assume will be an incredible cohort of talented writers and producers and directors, and to just continue refining and thinking about the ideas of this story. The genesis of it was really just conversations with friends and family of mine where I feel like the ground underneath one's feet as an American Jew is just constantly shifting, where if you're with a group of people who are very sort of highly supportive of Israel, there's a part of your brain that's like, well, there's these things or those things that maybe we should sort of be a little bit more critical here. And then if you're with a group of people who are very critical of Israel, there's a part of your brain that's like, well, what about this or that sort of wants to support Israel in these circumstances. And so it can feel like there's this internal schism within me that's like, almost like two sides are just competing or multiple sides, and we're just sort of inhabiting these contradictions constantly. And it felt like to me that there was something really exciting about dramatizing this internal conflict, which I think are characters of, the parents, Beth and Andrew, the girlfriend, Tali, who's an anti-Zionist, Zach, who's more centrist, but still to the left, and then Amir, who's also pretty far, further to the left than Zach is. It just felt to me like this was a really exciting way to dramatize these debates and these discussions. What I hope to achieve is to continue working on this story and refining it, to develop the characters further, to develop the plot lines and the storylines further, to find out if there's more action, to find out if there's more movement that can come out of this story. And then a little bit about my Jewish background is that I grew up in Los Angeles. I'm from this conservative family in Los Angeles. My dad was for a long time the editor and publisher of the Jewish Journal in LA, and my mom is a conservative rabbi. Her name is Rabbi Naomi Levy, and she was, I think, the first conservative female rabbi to lead a congregation west of the Mississippi, which is pretty cool. I grew up kosher. I grew up going to synagogue a lot. I went to Jewish day school. A lot of these, let's say, traditions and rituals were sort of imposed on me. And I think in college I sort of I rebelled against it. I stopped being kosher. I started, not really practicing Shabbat. And I think now as, a 30-something-year-old, I'm figuring out my way back to Judaism. I think particularly through my writing, it's a way to explore identity. It's a way to explore my relationship to Israel, my relationship to ritual and tradition, my relationship to the community in general. And so I really value these opportunities because I think it's just a really important way for me to, figure out by doing. We often like to say that Judaism isn't just a belief system, it's also a practice, that you do Judaism. And so I'm excited because, the thing that I do the best, I think, is write and talk and figure out these ideas through my writing. And so I'm excited for this opportunity because I feel like it could help me, it will help me, you know, kind of discover what's really on my heart about these issues. What it means to be Jewish in the 21st century, what it means to be an Israel supporter, an Israel lover in the 21st century, and what it means to, also have these very strong opinions about what I don't agree with what the government is doing, and how to find a way to, feel like I'm living up to the values of being a good American Jew at the same time. And these are all just like very heavy topics and very tough. And I believe that, writing is a great way to get at the center of these things and to sort of examine these things in different ways. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for considering my application. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.